Hey guys, welcome to a slightly different video this week. Normally you can see me uploading some of my better games or silly and crazy moments playing with friends, but I want to try something outside of my norm. I'll be walking through a solo win I had and what my thought process and mindset was during different stages of the game. I'll be giving you an insight into the decisions I made and why it may have been the right play or how it should have sent me back to the lobby with the tail between my legs. Looking back on your gameplay is one of the best ways to improve, as I think it highlights what you're doing right, exposes a recurring weakness you may have not have seen before, and gives you quicker reactions and better decision making when a similar situation arises in a future game. I think that's enough of an intro for me, so let's get into it and hop into the action. After finishing up our individual fights at our drop location in Gardens, we rotate over to Grow Towers and see a respawn dropship as we land. This gives a clear advantage in the fight, as one member of the enemy squad is on no items, and it can also mean that a third party is near, so we want to finish up this fight as quickly as possible. Downing the Wraith and putting shots in what I assumed was Respawn Legend, I wanted to get my teammate up as quickly as possible to keep our advantage. Their lifeline pushes up here in the revive, 2 quick clips put her down, giving our teammate time to heal and pick up our horizon. Now comes the wrong play that I know needs to be avoided in the future. I wanted to save my meds and tried to finish the lifeline for her shields, putting myself in a very bad situation, not only on low ground, but also out in the middle of nowhere. I luckily make it out using the lifeline as cover and have to heal anyway, negating the whole purpose of the play to begin with. The only silver lining is that I was able to get to the high ground while healing. As you guessed it, a third party is rotated over and they're trying to clean up the fight. If there's one thing I would recommend, it would be looking into your gameplay to see how you take fights. This could be either from the aggressor position or from a defensive standpoint. Having the high ground here turns a very lopsided fight against us into an easy win just from the positioning I took at the beginning. How you reset a fight can be just as important as how you take one. In this situation, I come out of it with full health. This leaves me in the position to ward off any other teams as my squad heals up. I know it can be tempting to start looting right away, but just by taking a few seconds to look around, you can prevent your squad from being run over by a third party just trying to ape you. Just by putting a few shots into the pushing enemy, I'm able to stall them long enough for my team to heal and push as a group rather than having to fight them at a disadvantage. Another team engages the other squad, and I now know to keep in cover as 6 enemies could be looking at me if I push too aggressively. With this in mind, I immediately ignore it and just strut right into the open. This should have definitely gotten me killed, but I just got straight up lucky. Now you do need luck sometimes to win in a battle royale, but this is one of those scenarios where my decision making needed to be better. Just some good shots here that help me clean up this team while they're trying to pick up their lifeline. One sec, I just dropped this Loba. Sometimes you just have to be better, you gotta hit those shots. Assert your dominance, you know? If you look at the way I take this fight, my movement is very deliberate. I know the Wraith and Octane are both aiming at me, so I make sure to go left around the cover to cut off the angle with the Wraith. This creates a pseudo 1v1 with the Octane so I can take him down without having to worry about the Wraith. Now with just one legend to worry about, I can focus my full attention on him. Just take a quick slide underneath that master shot. Just like that, that squad is wiped. Skipping ahead just a little bit, we're engaged with the team here in Hammond Labs. They're bunkered up inside, and this isn't an area that I really like to fight in, especially with the circle closing soon. After taking a little bit of damage, I back up and try and get on top of this hill and have a little bit of high ground on them to see in. The high ground turns out to be a good decision as a third party comes in on a trident. If we would have stayed down there, we would have been completely encircled by these two teams and taken out relatively quickly. Now my job here is just to do as much damage as I can on the incoming team to make it easier to clean up at the end. Try focusing on the ledges on the high ground as they pose a large threat to me. I don't know what this person is doing poking out like that, but that just made it much easier for us to take this fight. I got caught a little bit by surprise by this Remnant because he's so far away from his teammate and he's not really helping them in the fight at all. But I managed to swing on him and put some good shots in him to force him to back up and then slide in for the finish. Now the circle is closed around us, completely changed the dynamic of this fight. Once the Bangalore ult drops, it's clear that I need to get out of here as I have no meds to survive the storm and I'll be slowed too much once the ult hits me. I use my Q to get out of the ult and then turn around and continue firing on the team stuck in the storm. Unfortunately, without any health meds, I'm unable to go back into the storm to get my teammates' banners. Even with race utility with her Q and portal, I'll still die if I go into the storm at this point, especially with the other team still sitting there. I fire a couple shots on the people remaining in the storm to see if anybody's health is low enough to get a quick knock. After not getting anything here, I want to rotate early. I want to rotate as quickly as possible since I'm going to be at a disadvantage for the rest of the game. When you reach the final circles as a solo, it's important to not draw too much unwanted attention to yourself, and pick isolated fights that you can retreat from if needed. You no longer have your two teammates there to help ward off pushes, so you want to make sure that you can be safe if you ever need to heal, and put enough distance between you and the other team that they can't overwhelm you. I try and take an isolated fight on this Bangalore as she's separated from her team, but they're able to still put shots on me from my position, so I have to queue out and try and heal. Once healed, I run into them again, and it's the same repetition of trying to queue out to get a better position and heal up to full. This whole time I'm trying to delay so that the other team can come in and try and third party, so their full focus is not on me. I get the high ground on this building, and I'm going to try and hold it for as long as possible. But as you can see, with several teams around me, it's not going to be able to be held forever. I'm trying to make sure with every opportunity I get, I'm healing myself as much as possible, so that I'm ready for whatever situation comes next. Once I feel them starting to close in, I make sure to reposition out, and so I can heal back up and get a new angle on the fight.
Need to recharge my shields.
And right here I have an Andy Dwyer level dumb moment where instead of healing back up to full behind this pillar, I become a little bit lazy and I pay the price. Luckily I have my self revive, but if I didn't have that I would be completely out of the game at this point. I'm able to get the revive off, and once I heal my shields back up, I'll be able to push back into the fight. Unfortunately, I don't have any health meds left, so I have to avoid any circle damage from this point on. At first I think this is just a mirage until I hear the footfalls, and that's when I know that I should be shooting at him. I lob 2 grenades on either side of this box since I know he's going to be hiding behind there, one on the right and one on the left. This is trying to minimize as much room as possible for him to be safe behind, and I end up getting the knock from it. Now it's just one opponent left, it's just a 1v1 that I have to win. I fail my shield swap here as it's a gold shield and takes longer than expected. I was assuming it was a red one based off the box. And here I just have to buy time so I can reposition myself, slide under a massive shot, and finish the kill to win the game. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the new style of video. If you did, don't feel shy and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.